First of all, thank you so much, Marta, for invitation for this meeting. I'm very glad to be here. Actually, where we are?
We are in Warsaw, Poland.
Yes.
We are in my studio, which is located in a beautiful district called Wilanów. And this is my little kingdom. As you can see, it's composed of 2 rooms, one reception where we are right now, and the other room is over there where I do all the magic things.
Okay. And, I always start from one question.
Mm-hmm.
How did you start your career in photography?
I think that my story is similar to all the stories of other photographers, at least girls photographers. It started as a hobby and passion. And I was carrying my camera everywhere with me. But then I started working for a corporation, and this hobby went somewhere, disappeared for some time until I met my husband, who just convinced me to start doing something that I really love. And that's how the decision to turn into photography was made.
But how many years ago did you start your hobby, your journey?
So the first camera I got, 20 years ago. It was a long time ago.
How old are you now?
Old. Well, it was 20 years ago. And then in 2015, when I got married, and I decided to have a family, I also decided to switch from being a manager to being a manager in my own company. So it was 2015. Actually, the decision was made a little bit earlier, but then I had some accidents, like I broke my arm.
Wow.
I got pregnant on the way, and it was all postponed until 2015 when I started actually doing sessions.
But what did you do before?
I was working in marketing for a logistic company for quite a long time. And the job involved traveling, a lot of traveling around Europe. And this traveling thing made me speed up the process of changing into photography, going into photography, because it took a lot of my time, free time. So
you mean it would be very difficult to have such kind of job with traveling things and also to have time for your family?
Yes, exactly. That was the reason.
Okay. And did you start from newborn photography?
Yes, and I started as a newborn photographer, which was really astonishing to my family and friends, because when I started being a newborn photographer, I actually was not planning to have kids at all.
No worries.
Yeah, everyone was really surprised when I told them that actually, and this is the genre that I'm interested in, because I never said that I would be interested in having kids at all. So yeah, I turned into a newborn photographer, and that was my passion for 3 years. For 3 years, I did only newborns almost every single day. And then I decided to switch.
Well, you studied a little bit like this. You started your career in photography.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2015. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you said that you had a lot of photo shoots.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you do to find a lot of clients to have photo shoot just for each day? Or the market was a little bit different, or you put your experience in marketing, which you got from the company where you were working for?
I think it's a combination of a lot of different factors. The market was a little bit different. The competition on the market 7 years ago was different than today. There was less photographers available on the market. That was the first thing. However, newborn photography in Poland was not that popular at that point. So in order to get a customer, you needed to convince people that it's something that they have to pay for, or they should pay for.
Okay.
So convincing people is also a marketing job. So I think that knowing marketing, knowing how to target your services, and also investing in your technical skills was the key part of growing this business. So I was very, very consistent in learning, in developing my own style that would be a little bit different from what was available on the market.
Yeah, that would actually, I would like to ask you, because you have quite interesting combination of colors, and your forest looks like a bit different from others. But how did you find your style?
I think that finding a style is something that comes from an experimentation.
Okay.
The more I tried, the more I experimented, the more I could get a different styling. I could develop something different that has never been done before. So I was trying different things. I was looking for different things, like, for example, props, like accessories. I never wanted to follow trends and fashion on the market. That's why I landed here where I am today. And I think this is the key success factor for creating your own style. Having the courage to do something different than the others. Stop copying others. Focusing on your own growth. Investing in your technical skills, and investing time in learning, like getting experience. More and more experience you get, the better you get. And the better you get, the more you can experiment more. So it's like a vicious circle. You cannot grow and develop your own style without working, without a little bit disconnecting from the business and from the others. Because I think that everyone when you are following other photographers, you unintentionally, sometimes unintentionally, sometimes intentionally, you copy others' work. And if you disconnect from the others, all of a sudden you are left only with your creativity, and you have to force yourself to do something different.
Well, that's actually one of these things. When you studied, educational program, master classes about maternity, and I suppose also newborn photography, didn't you have such a feeling that, there are some others photography who would like to copy you, and maybe you also faced with, such photos, and which, looks like your photos?
Well, I think that photography business is composed not only from pictures, but it's also connected with the personality of the photographer. So you can copy my work, but you will never be me. You will never be Marta Ponsko. You will never be... The photographer will never be you, right? So, well, I don't think it's a good thing to be to copy someone else's work, because you always be considered by your customers as a person who copies, right? I think that customers see it. It's like they are not full blinded. They see that a photographer is not creating his own work. So at the very beginning of my photography journey, it annoyed me, like when people were creating one-to-one copy of my work. Right now, I don't even spend time on thinking about it. Like, it's just a waste of my time. I know that it happens. I know it will happen. I cannot fight with it. The only thing that I really hate about copying is that people try to explain themselves like, when people copy you, it means that you are popular, that your artwork is admired. Well, it's not a good excuse for being a copyist, right? Okay. At least that's my opinion. So I'm not afraid of it. I'm actually teaching people. So with teaching, what teaching means is that your students at some point will try to replicate what you're creating. The only thing that differentiates me from the others is that I teach people to replicate, but not replicate one-to-one, but to incorporate what they learned from me into their own style and into their own artwork. That's the key thing in the photography business.
So, but in marketing, there is a tool which called benchmarking, where you just take something more popular, trendy, which already works for others, and implement it in your business. So it's like a very business way to copy something that already sells in a market, and just implement it into your business.
I think that if you copy someone's work, it's really good to appreciate that it was an inspiration.
Yeah,
you
didn't do it by yourself. But you're inspired by somebody, so that's what I have. Okay.
Yeah, especially if you teach others. So if someone who teaches other photographers does it, what kind of ethics does she convey? What kind of message she conveys or he conveys to other photographers? If you can copy one-to-one and then just claim it's your work, it's your own work, it's your own creativity, I think that this is not the good direction of where the photography should go. But you cannot be a teacher if you are afraid of being copied. Like, you just cannot do it. First of all, the most important thing is that I love teaching and I love interaction with people. I love meeting them. And I do it because I love it. And I love conveying knowledge, like distributing it elsewhere. And I know that it comes with the fact that these people will use the knowledge. That's what they are coming to my workshops, right? To use it and to replicate it at some point. It's just a normal part of being a teacher. If you are teaching and you are afraid of being copied, well, you'd better do something else. It's not a good motivation or lack of motivation for teaching. Yeah.
Fair hearing.
So, yeah.
But in your market, in your internal market, for example, that also are photographers sometimes are afraid of. For example, from not big countries, like, for example, Latvia. So they prefer not to share their knowledge with others because there are a lot of competitors around, and sometimes clients could prefer someone else except you because they have almost could have almost the same folders, but the price could be a little bit different from yours. That's didn't you afraid to face with such problem? I can say so.
I think that my situation is a little bit different because I have a different approach. I know that I will be a different place in 1 month, in 2 months, or in 3 months because I'm developing my style. I'm not keeping it at the same level.
Okay.
So the people who are copying me today, tomorrow I will create something different. That's the most important part of my business and of me being a photographer, to develop constantly, not staying in one place, not replicating the techniques that I already know. Actually, it's pretty boring to replicate it all over again, right? So I'm looking for new ways, new lighting techniques, new styling, new things that in a year I most probably will be in a different place with a different style.
Yeah, okay. We will. I can count that the next year. And
we
will have the in your interview. What about you? What is your secret? How you became a popular first in Polish market, and I suppose not in Polish in Europe now, because I saw your masterclass schedule. You have a lot of it now. So what is your kind of secret?
I think it's hard work, consistency, being
No, just one pill. Hard work.
I think that there are no easy recipes for success. Success is always connected with hard work, and having a clear vision of what you want to do and how you want to do it, who you want to be. I always knew that I don't want to be another copy of someone else's work. I always knew that I do not want to work in a style that is popular on the market, like flying dresses, flowers, changing colors of trees and flowers on the pictures, or adding beautiful sky. I always knew that I don't want to work outdoor. That studio is something that actually gives me so much joy and fun working in. So, and this was the basics. And then I knew that I want to attract customers for a specific type of photography, where nudity is a key factor, where color is a key factor. And the only obstacle for me was technical, let's call it disability, because I didn't have proper knowledge. So the first years of my...
Oh, one second.
Yeah.
You said that 3 years you were in newborn photography.
Yes.
And after that, you decided to change.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that you had not, in your opinion, proper education, proper knowledge about the light.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay. That's. Could you please clarify what do you mean?
So when you work with newborns,
Okay.
the only thing that you are worried about are the accessories, how you pose the baby. You put the light in one place and you do not change it. There's no rocket science in terms of lighting techniques in newborn photography, right? There are other obstacles, like whether your model sleeps or not.
Yeah. Okay, I see it. Okay.
And working 3 years in such a with stable and doing almost every day the same things, because you replicate things, like you have a routine, you have a workflow, you repeat this workflow. The only thing that changes are your models.
Okay.
Right? It's a little bit boring. It is. For me, it was for me. So I decided to go into an area that I found was very challenging for me. I didn't know light at all. I didn't know how to use properly even one source of light.
Oh, that's an interesting story, because now you use, sorry for interruption, now you use, what I noticed, a lot of photographers, newborn photographers, would like to start maternity photography, because that's very nice, business way. You attract pregnancy model, and after that you can make, newborn photo shoot. But most of them started from just one light, source of light. That's very, typical. You can use it in different ways, but that's usually very, typical picture that you have. And you mentioned that, okay, I was maybe not good enough and didn't understand everything in lighting technique. And now that's first when I just had a look to your pictures, I was like, wow, how she made it? And I started reading the picture, trying to understand what color is it actually. That's amazing. So just tell me a little bit more about that. How you started.
So it was a long learning process. I started working with just one source of light, with just one modifier, and then I started to look for different ways of lighting. So I added different modifiers. Tries to understand how it changes. I'm not a person who learns from books, from YouTube, or I learn only by experience. So I spend a lot of hours in the studio with my models. And then I realized that I need a second light. And then I realized that I need a third light.
Okay.
And I was always attracted to photographs and styling from movies from 80s and 90s, where there were a lot of colors, and a lot of different fabrics and materials with shining pieces. And I wanted to have it in my photos as well, and that's how it went.
Did I understand you right that you found your own style, your lighting schemes, lighting techniques by your own? You didn't learn?
By trying different things in the studio.
You didn't learn from anybody else?
I experimented a lot. Okay. And I remember the first, and I tell this story quite often on my workshops, that I remember that I was trying different lighting techniques during my regular sessions as well with my customers. And after one of the sessions, I had this picture, actually similar to the one that you can see on the wall, and similar to the one here.
Okay.
And I got it for the first time. And I remember this feeling of excitement, like, oh my God, this is something that I'm in love with. This is something that I want to do. I brought this picture to home and I showed it to my husband, and my husband was like, you will not sell it.
Okay.
And I was like, why? It's beautiful. Don't you see it? It's so different from what you can see on the market. I'm sure there will be people who would love it and would like to have it. And he said, like, no, such avatars.
No, avatars. Yeah. Okay.
Blue skin, no. So, yeah, and I said, okay, but I will try it somehow. And I gradually implemented it into every single session until the moment came when I got customers who were so mesmerized by this style that they came to me, selected me as their photographer because they really loved this distinguished, different from the others style on the market.
Okay, but actually we had a conversation before the interview with Marta and about husband. That's very useful thing that you mentioned, because your husband, as I understood, also attracted to the part of your business. Mm-hmm. And can you just
elaborate about
it? Yes.
So my husband is my boss.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
He's a chief financial officer, chief executive. Yeah.
Okay.
He's HR director. He manages my calendar. Yes, he's very important part of this business, and without him I wouldn't be here. I don't think it would be possible. And we run the business together. So I'm the crazy one responsible for all the creative stuff and also customer service. And he has an engineer mind.
Okay.
So he's more responsible for the things that my mind just does not cope with. So all the financial stuff and also retouching. And I must admit that he's better than me right now. He's much better. He has better experience.
I hope he will watch this video.
Yes, Johnny, you are better than you actually be. By this, you are promoted to senior retoucher.
Okay.
At the very beginning, after 1 year of working together,
okay,
the first year was obviously a little bit difficult because we had to set boundaries and define who is responsible for what. And I'm the kind of person that does not give responsibility. It's very difficult for me to give away, delegate and give away responsibility for some areas of the things that I did before.
Okay.
So the first year was quite difficult, and then after 1 year, my husband asked, would you mind considering promoting me from junior retoucher, a regular retoucher? So we made an exam for me. And after this exam, I said, honey, you'd better stay a junior retoucher. You can be a chief executive of this company. Yeah, so that was the funny story. Right now, he knows much more than I do about retouching. He has his own workflow, and I hate when he stands behind my back because he's like, you didn't retouch this and this and this and this. I don't like your style.
Okay. Yeah. So that's usually also my student ask me how to find a retoucher. So think about your relatives first.
I think it's very, very good. Right? Yeah. To keep money within the company, right? Because you do not pay to an external retoucher. And you have control, full control. Yes.
That's gonna be our secret. Okay, the question gonna be about the money. How much your photo shoots cost clients now?
So the fee for the standard session is 2,500 Polish zlotys.
What is about in euros?
It's around, I think it's 500.
500 is around. Okay.
Around it. Yeah. So I think that these are, it's connected with economical factors. Like, I remember when I studied economy, there were several schemes of how people make decisions, right?
Okay.
So usually when you have a service offer at a very cheap level, there is also a bigger competition. There are more people who are serving the same service. So getting a customer in this target, it's much more difficult because there are so many other who have similar or even the same service offer. Yeah. And when it comes to the higher prices, you're targeting a different type of customer. This type of a customer will not look for a photographer for 100 euros. For such a customer, someone who sells their offers for cheap prices is like,
there's something tricky. Something wrong with that person.
With this photographer, there must be some trick about his or her service offer. So these people actually choose the photographers who have higher prices, but with prices, you have to have a proper portfolio as well, right? That's a very important thing. But when talking about business, I think disconnecting prices from your style and from your service offer is not a good way. I mean, talking only about prices just decreases, makes this topic very shallow.
Yeah.
So what I learned is that the photographers who are charging less are usually the beginners, and they don't have their own style. They usually follow the trends. They have the same dresses as everyone else, the same lighting techniques as everyone else. They have, they run business in a similar way. So they're like sheep on the field,
Yeah, sheep on the field, okay.
Like there are masses of sheep on the field, right, to choose from. So when you're similar to others, your customer will choose you only on the basis of either the location, because you're close to your customer, you are close to your customer, or on the basis of the price, right? But when you start to do something different, differentiate yourself by having a specific style, different from the others, using different accessories, different outfits, different lighting techniques, and on top of that, your price is a little bit different from the others, that makes you special. The problem which comes here is that your niche gets very narrow. You're no longer serving masses, okay? You're serving much less customers. You can serve much less customers because not everyone likes crazy style, right? Like avatar skin.
Yes, okay.
You know what I mean? Like most of the people prefer flying dresses, beautiful sky, beautiful landscapes. It's like with pop music, most people like pop music, but only a very narrow group of people like jazz.
Okay.
Or hard rock or any other type of music that.
So you have to have
Special.
kind of courage.
I think so. Yes, a courage and also a definition of your niche. You have to understand your customer. Who is your customer? Is it an average Miss Kowalski? Or is it someone who has specific attitude, has specific approach to life, likes specific things, right? And you need to understand that. And you need to know where to find these people.
But still, can you give any advice for beginners in photography?
Well, the first advice is invest in yourself before you start investing in your equipment. Invest in your knowledge, invest in your technique, spend time in the studio to learn using the tools that you already have. Don't copy like the studio, the equipment that the other photographers have, because sometimes they are not suitable for your space and for your own studio. Just find your own way of working, find your own workflow, and work on your own style that should come straight from your heart. If you believe in something that it's beautiful, that it will be liked by the others, by your potential customers, then just follow it. Follow your gut feelings.
Gut feelings. Okay, I see. But what if you... that's what I usually also hear from others, that I have not enough time, I have not enough money for that, I have not enough courage, I have not enough support from my relatives, and I have some hours in a week and try to do my best just to try something new. What we can advise for such people in such situation?
I think that if someone says that they do not have time, they do not have a good motivation
and real desire.
Because if you have a real desire to become good in something, you will find time. You will not spend time on watching Netflix. You will sleep less to learn something.
Yeah.
You will spend much more time. You will sacrifice something to learn or to do something that will bring you to a higher level. So this is not an excuse. Money can be a constraint, but there are ways to avoid that. Like I didn't have studio at the very beginning. I learned at my own home. I didn't have money to hire professional models, so I was photographing my sister. She was my first model. I didn't have money for expensive light or light stands, so I was using what I had, like very cheap tools. I don't think that there are any excuses that could stop you. The only excuse is like having no motivation.
It's like
the obstacle is like no motivation to do it, like a fear. Well, if you analyze the lives of people who made success in any other area, in sports, in business, in art, these were people who had courage. Like they had motivation and courage to do something different. Without it, you cannot go any further. So you need to believe in yourself, even if others don't believe at you at all. You need to build your own strength, and you need to be your own friend. You need to be your own friend to cuddle yourself and
to embrace yourself.
Yeah, and tell yourself like, okay, you're doing good. You make mistakes, that's normal. Okay, you're doing good, but you're moving. Okay, you're moving slowly, but you're moving forward. That's the most important thing. Okay, and that's the key piece of advice.
This is very motivation speech. Sorry, but you mentioned mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And did you make a lot of mistakes during your career?
I think that it's like mistakes. It's something that happens all the time, or maybe not a mistake. Like, it's very difficult to determine what is a mistake. I don't think I made a mistake. Maybe I missed some opportunities because I made the decision not in a proper time, or I delayed making such a decision, or I allowed someone to make a choice, not myself. But yeah, I don't think that there will be many mistakes.
So you just keep it, because sometimes mistakes is not mistake, it's just experience, which can
exactly.
lead you
Yes.
to somewhere the better place, actually.
Absolutely, that's how it works.
Yes, that is the reason why I'm asking you about that, because I see so much people who, and also I was such a person who wouldn't like to make a mistake in their lives. Yeah, never mind. Was it connected with business?
Like perfectionists.
Kind of, maybe just you. If you try to do something, you have a feeling that you gonna be successful. Definitely, just tomorrow, better tomorrow.
Yeah, the problem is that people set up unrealistic goals. Like, you cannot be successful tomorrow. Success takes time. And the first question is what success means to you. Because for some people, success means like having 3 customers per week. For the others, success means like going for being a speaker on a conference and having, I don't know, 1 million followers on Instagram. So the definition of success is different from person to person. So yeah, I think that the key thing is to set realistic goals and to set up a path. You need to have a vision, like, okay, this is who I would love to be in the future, like, let's say in 5 years, in 10 years. But then that vision has to be followed by steps. Small goals that you need to achieve, okay? The very beginning, for the first goal that I had was like to get customers who would pay me for doing a newborn photo shoot.
Just to pay.
Yeah, just to pay. Then the next goal was like to have at least 2 free customers per week. The next goal was to have 5 customers per week. The next goal was like to have 2 months booked in advance to have financial stability. And then the next goal was like, I would like to start teaching. Yeah. And the next goal was like, I would dream of going somewhere and teach people around the world. And then the next goal will be like wherever, right? So set small steps. And once you achieve it, set another one and another one and another one. Don't stay in one place, because there are so many photographers who didn't change at all for years, right?
Yeah. That was actually you mentioned as an advice for beginners for who are just newcomers in photography business. Just always develop yourself and invest in yourself.
This is the requirement that the market
Requirement of the market, because there is no time just to think, do I have time or not? Is it my desire or not?
I think that if you don't develop, you stay in one place, there will be so many others who outpace you. Right? So being an artist nowadays is much more difficult because of the pressure of creating, having to create something new all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you want to be a photographer or an artist, like one of the most important features that you need to have is the curiosity to develop and to change while you learn new things.
That's very nice word, actually, curiosity. You have to have curiosity. That things which make you moving, doing, moving forward. Yes, that's right. You had master classes around Europe, and you've been in different countries. Did you notice any particular features of markets? I mean, in Polish markets or the markets of other countries, just something particularly?
I don't think so. I think that every photographer has the same issues.
Okay.
Like all of them have the same issues. Like they have the same questions: how to grow the business, how to fight with the competitors, how to get new customers, what are the key ways or tools to market yourself, how to define target, and then technical skills, right? How to become better and better. The only peculiarities are the fashion for different trends. Like I don't know, like in the United States, Lola Melani style is much more popular, and people are more into this style. Like in UK, you have also one influencer on that market, like Natasha Ince, and everyone does similar style. So these are the only things that make these markets different, and also availability and quality of the equipment that the photographers use. But regarding the issues, problems, they have exactly the same.
And the clients, could they be different from countries to countries?
There are cultural differences that come with, for example, openness to nudity. Like when they book the session, in some countries, for example, people do not book maternity sessions well in advance because of fear that something happens in between, and this is like a cultural obstacle. In some countries, I don't know, like obstacles connected with public opinion and openness to share your pictures. Like in Germany, for example, photographers have more problems with getting with privacy and getting acceptance and permission for posting pictures of their customers. This might influence a business at some point in those countries.
I see. What if our photographer would like to open his own studio? What should be in his focus or her focus? What she or he gonna take in account when he would like to find an place to rent, for example, or what light to buy for that kind of pictures, for example?
So we are talking about technical aspects of studio, right?
Yeah.
So, well, I think that location is not that as important as the size of the studio. It cannot be like 15 square meters because it's too small, but it has to have enough space to accommodate customer, a photographer, and a couple of lighting equipment.
And what's the size of your?
So my studio is 65 square meters. It's not big, but it's enough for me to create my own artwork and do the business in a way that I want to do it.
Okay.
The most important aspect of the studio for me was the height of the ceiling. It's 3 meters. That allows me to work with the light high and low. And I think this was the most important thing that made me make a decision to come here.
Okay. It's about the apartment or the how to say it? Because
it's actually an apartment.
Yeah, that's
adjusted to converted into photography studio.
Okay.
So the entrance, which is easily accessible for your customers, is very important. So they do not have to go 4 floors up without a lift. So there are facilities inside, like toilet or a place that they can change. I've seen so many different studios all around the world, and I've seen studios where the toilet was on the back of the building. So, can you imagine and when you make a photo shoot for a naked woman and she wants to go to pee, and she needs to just in the middle of winter put on everything, go to pee and come back and then undress and you continue. Well, for me that would be an obstacle in having such a studio. So like basic facilities, and well, it has to be just clean, comfortable, hidden from the eyes of the strangers walking by. That's it.
But what about the studio lights? What about accessories? Should you focus on that? Should you have something already, or you just start from the very beginning, from maybe nothing, and after that maybe you start to building the real, not real, but the huge studio with big wardrobe.
It all depends on your financials. If you have money, then you can invest in better quality equipment, right? That's obvious. I'm a fan of paying once for good quality equipment instead of paying twice or 3 times for very cheap ones. So I started my business with very cheap light. I started with only one modifier, and then when I learned and get more experience, I started to buy something that was good for me. So I didn't follow like advices from other photographers. I just analyzed what I need in my studio, what are my key obstacles, and what are the areas that I need to improve, and how this equipment can improve it. So I've got good stands, I've got good light.
Well, can we name that?
So I got light Godox lights. I've got stands that are from Cambo.
Okay.
And I've got what else? Like
you can check.
I just need 3 lights, 3 stands, a couple of modifiers that come from Fotix and Godox. Backdrop system, electric backdrops.
You prefer electric backdrops?
No, don't do that. It's just waste of time. Since I'm working by myself, I don't have an assistant. I don't have anyone here in the studio. I have to do everything by myself. So I cannot imagine myself like dragging the whole stand up. Like doing it every single time I change lighting setup, or I cannot imagine doing it. Every time I need to change the backdrop. I want my studio to help me be faster and more efficient. That's why I invest in an equipment that is good quality, durable, and adapted to my studio.
Okay. You that person I usually ask also about the trends in newborn maternity photographer, but I skipped this question because you said that you avoid trends.
Yes,
you're trying to make your own trends.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know it's not my intention to create trends, but my intention is first of all to do something that supports my business and supports how I work, like ergonomics of my studio, for example. I remember when my husband convinced me to buy this apartment and convert it into studio, and the first thing he said, like, and now you will have the opportunity to have the real wood floor for newborn photography. And I was like, no, I will never have it in my own studio. And he was like, why? Everyone has it. It's so popular, like everyone is chasing the good wood to have beautiful floor for newborn photography. I said, but it's taking so much space, it's useless.
Okay.
Like, why? I analyzed it. For me, it's not a good solution. Right? I hate working on one backdrop all the time in newborn photography. I wanted to have the possibility to change it. And I wanted something to be easy to clean, and I wanted to have something that I could sit on and not worry that there will be piece of wood sticking out of it.
Okay.
And I didn't want to carry this heavy wood and drag it and attach it to the wall. Like, just no. So yeah, I don't know.
So you are that person, you always analyzing what is good for me, is it works for me or not?
Mm-hmm.
And you got the award like the best maternity photographer of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me please about that and what do you feel about that?
Well, it was very exciting to get such a title. It was given by one of the associations of photographers, and I didn't expect that. But well, you know what? I actually forgot about it.
That was written in your website. I usually, when I have an interview before that, I check some things and I prepare for that. That was written on your first page of your website.
Yeah,
I should have. Yeah, and you mentioned 3 things you should still remember, which kind of for us to sound to taking part.
So you need to be proud of your work. Like you need to be convinced that it's worth showing to the others, because competition is about showing your best things, the best artwork that you did, right? So it cannot be an average student. It has to be something unique in one or the other way. And the third thing is you cannot show it before. Like when you send something for a competition, remember that it has to be new. If you send something that was published a year ago, well, people already saw it. They do not recognize it as something new. So it should be totally new. Don't show it before. And it's very good to select the competitions where you get something in return. For example, feedback. Like, what did you do good? What did you do? What you could improve? Which areas can be better? Like, I think this is the most valuable part of taking part in the competition. And on top of that, well, the valuable thing is being awarded, right? Because you can communicate that to your market, to your target. And every customer likes to work with a photographer who has some visibility, right?
Yes.
And whose work was appreciated by other professionals.
Yeah. So I really grateful for coming there for these interviews. Thank you so much, Marta. And I suppose that you also got a lot of advices today, and just write us some good words for this interview. Yeah, we try to share also our maybe inspiration, our journey, your journey. That's usually so interesting for me, because when I'm traveling, I usually try to meet with my colleagues that inspire me so much. Yeah, sometimes story they have a lot of similarities, especially for women, because when for newborn photographers has some similarities in your stories. When you got pregnant, you decided to be to try these newborn things. Yeah, but still there are a lot of different things which happened during this big journey, and that still it is a business, very amazing, very inspirable, very creative. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That you exist in this market, and thank you for your pictures.
And I would like to thank my husband.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, without him, honey, without you, I wouldn't be here.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. We finished? We finished. Done. High five.